What's going on, everybody? Today we have a little bit of an 80s nostalgia. This brings me back to 1980s MTV with Poison, Bon Jovi, Van Halen, all on MTV. What we have here is we've got what I believe to be a 1987 Diamondback Silver Streak. Now this thing is in beautiful shape. It's got all of the original parts. The only thing that I'm seeing that's potentially missing is the front reflectors missing, but it's got the original grips on here. It's got the original die-comp brakes on here. The original wheels. I can't believe this actually has some really cool Tioga cranks with a Tioga Spider on there, and it's all original. 100% chromoly frame. We've got the lean back seat post. We've got the original Diamondback seat. Unbelievably, it's got the original chain guard. It's almost completely intact, and I've been really lucky to get this. Let's take it inside and talk about it a little bit more. As far as this bike goes, we've got the Tioga cranks with the Tioga Spider. We've got some die-comp brakes that are on here. We've got these alloy wheels that are probably made by a company called Yukai. I don't see a stamp on there anywhere. The really cool Diamondback stem. We've got some die-comp brake levers with some die-comp brakes on here. And this bike actually has 87 stamped in multiple places. It's got 87 on the hubs. It's got 87 on the brake levers. They actually say 87 right there. So it's an 87. I'm very confident that it's an 87. And well, it looks like we've got some mail coming in. What do you have for me? All right, thanks. Well, looks like we're going to have a unboxing. Let me see. This one, this is to Isaac's brother. Let's see, Customer Service California Tools LLC. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Can't open this thing up. There we go. Okay. This is from not my last video, but the video before. Apparently, somebody noticed that I couldn't find my safety glasses working on my Schwinn Sidewinder. Oh, cool. And sent some eye protection. So those are nice and clear. Actually, I like the way those fit. Thank you. It does not say. It does not say who it's from. It says from 915 or 91355. Stamps indica. And there's nothing in there. Hey, I really appreciate this. This is now the nicest pair of safety glasses that I've got. There's some DeWalt's. So whoever sent this, thank you. I would like to know your name. I wouldn't mind mentioning it on the next video. So thank you very much. I don't exactly need it for this project right here, but I will be using it. Like, thank you. That is my first. That's my first little gift I've gotten from you guys. So thank you very much. I will be using that. Everything on this is original. It's got some really tall handlebars, some original Diamondback handlebars. So the plan is to do a quick cleanup on this bike. Since it doesn't need hardly anything, I'm going to be talking about how I got into this business. So I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this up and adjusting things, and we're going to find a nice place to put it up on the wall. I'm going to get some of this lovely steel wool. I need to buy stock in this steel wool. I actually use quite a bit of it. And start cleaning. Oh, it's amazing how shiny this thing is, and it immediately starts getting shinier just by wiping it down. So, I ended up getting into this business back in 1994. And what happened was I was actually working at Six Flags over Texas, in Texas, and I enjoyed working there. I worked in games, and my game that I was in charge of was Wacky Wire. That's a game where you actually got a little loop with two handles on there, and you would take it down all the way down to the bottom and touch the bottom. And if you could do that without touching the coiled wire, you would win. And the prizes were pretty good. But honestly, it's a tough game. But once you learn how to do it, you can go to fairs, you could go other places, and you could just win so easily. I love that game. Every time the fair comes into town, I like to go and win some prizes from that. I've done it so much here that they actually have my picture on there, so I can't play. And well, actually, they let me play, but whenever they see how easily I win, they check their pictures and they won't give me a prize. They'll say, sorry, you can't win, and they keep my money, which is kind of a scam there. But you're allowed to win one prize a visit, supposedly. However, I haven't been able to win a prize from there in years. So, after working at Six Flags, I ended up, I enjoyed working there, but I was riding my bike 20 miles to work and then 20 miles back. So I'd be riding my bike at 11 o'clock at night coming home. And that was a little unsafe. I rode so much, and I spent so much time going into a bike shop, a local bike shop, that they insisted that I bring my bike in that I bought from them so that they could take a look at it. And I wouldn't do it. I just kept on riding my bike, and they actually, one time whenever I came by, they physically grabbed the bike from me and took it in the back so that they could take a look at it, because I had had this bike for less than a year. And whenever they came back, they asked me, have you been working on this bike? And I told them that I had been, and they were like, wow. do you want a job? And I was like, no, thank you. I like where I'm working at. And well, that year I didn't do too well in school, and I had to go to summer school. And whenever I told my bosses at Six Flags that I had to go to summer school, they weren't too pleased, and they said that I had two choices: that I could skip summer school and keep working there, or I could, leave. So I left. Well, my camera just ran out of juice, so I'm not exactly sure where I was, but I ended up leaving Six Flags over Texas. I was offered a job at the local bike shop, which was only about 2.5 miles away from me. And I showed up there, and the moment I showed up, I was immediately thrown in with repairing some very expensive bikes. No training, and that was very uncomfortable, because I went from working on a bike that was worth $500, that was mine, all the way to working on some $2,000 carbon fiber bikes back in 1994, and it was very uncomfortable, but I made it through. I didn't mess anything up. There was one case where the manager at the shop, I came back in from a day off, and I found him working on the boss's bike, and he had said that I had cross-threaded the bottom brackets on his bike, and I know for a fact that I did not mess with his or cross-thread the bottom bracket, because all I did was the bottom bracket was a little bit loose, so I kind of just torqued it back down to what the factory spec was supposed to be. And my old boss, his name was Jerry DeBow in Grand Prairie, Texas. Real stand-up guy. He was actually mayor of Grand Prairie for several years, and that was a very honest businessman, and I learned a lot from him, and real cool guy. But so Jerry was a big man. He was like 300 plus pounds, and he was hard on his bike, and he rode a Trek 5500, so that was a full carbon Dura-Ace equipped bike, which at the time, those bikes were absolutely amazing. Yeah, he was blaming me for cross-threading that bottom bracket. I didn't do it. Apparently, Glenn had pulled the bottom bracket out. That's the manager's name. And somehow got it cross-threaded. Of course, I guess it's possible it could have been cross-threaded from the factory, but you can normally tell if it's cross-threaded from the factory, because whenever you're trying to tighten it up, it doesn't feel right. So I worked there for 4 years, and then I started working. I ended up moving to North Carolina. Headset's a little loose here. And I wanted to work at a bike shop here, because I really, really loved working at a bike shop. I love working on bikes. There's just a certain satisfaction to getting something that's not working properly and making it work. So I worked at bike line in Garner for many years, and me and the owner had a little bit of a disagreement, and I left there and started working at another bike shop, and I worked there for close to 12 years. I'm going to say 11 years, but I think it might be 12. And worked for a gentleman named Don. And Don was another very stand-up guy. I learned even more from him. And he was a very straightforward guy. Is a very straightforward guy. And he didn't take any garbage from anybody, I'm going to tell you that. But yeah, he's still on our Christmas list. We love him. He's a great guy. But then I opened up this shop here in like 2013, and been here ever since. So that's 2013? Yes, 2013. So that's 9 years, and that's where I'm at. So as far as this goes, we're almost done. The bottom bracket was a little loose, and the headset was a little loose, and I was just cleaning up some of the nastiness here. Let's go ahead and clean up these rims. Now, I'm not doing anything to this bike other than cleaning it real quick. The headset I tightened properly. The bottom bracket I didn't tighten exactly properly. I like to cross tighten, and that involves getting a I like to get a little chisel and a hammer and tap the bottom bracket kind of backwards to really lock it to the lock nut. I'm not going to do that because, one, I'm not riding this bike, and two, it makes a lot of noise. And I can't talk to you whenever I'm making a lot of noise. What I'm doing here is I'm getting some car detailer. It's got hydrophobic polymer in there. It's not Armor All. It's something that's not as oily. In fact, it's not oily at all. And I'm just wiping this down just to leave a little bit of protection on the chrome. But there's no rust on this thing, none. Oh, looky there. I found a tiny bit of rust. There's a little tiny bit of rust right there. Oh, it's gone already. Okay. We now need to find a good place to put this bike. Oh. What am I thinking? I need to clean these rims. At least get the dirt off of them. This is the best Survivor bike I've ever gotten. Of course, it was in better shape whenever I got it. Of course, I've been leaving it inside my house, so it shouldn't be too much, too bad, that is. Let me see, what else? I'll talk about how I've gotten to this point here. What else can I talk about? well, I'll talk about the bike here. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of wiping the rims down because it's got dirt and dust on there. And before that, I'll put oil where the spokes meet the spoke nipples and the rim. And what that does is it allows you to make adjustments to the spokes without stripping the nipples. They get stripped very easily. It also makes life so much easier in the future if you keep them oiled a little bit. Now you do have to be careful because you don't want to get too much on there, because what happens is it'll get onto the braking surface and cause your brakes to not work very well. That's one of the worst things you can do, is get oil on your brakes. Alright, so that is looking really great. I'm going to wipe that seat post real good. Now, let's figure out where I'm going to put this. And I'm doing this all with very little editing. I'll cut some things out. So let's see. I've got a old thruster up here. That's from like 1980, 81 or 82. I can't exactly remember. That one's a bi-oval. And then I've got my old 1983 CW Phase 1 Cruiser. You don't see those too much. I've got my 68 Schwinn Deluxe there. I've got my old 1980 Kuwahara. It's called the Kuwahara. Of course, it's raining outside. So nasty. Then I've got my 1978 Mongoose Moto Mag. That's definitely staying. The green Schwinn is staying. The CW is staying. So far, I think I might move the Kuwahara. Of course, I could move my 81 GT next door. And then there's my hutch over there, and then the torquer on the other side. Decisions. So I'm thinking either the thruster or the Kuwahara. I'm going to think about this for a few minutes, and we're going to get it hung up. So we're going to pull this down very carefully because I love this bike. And we are going to unhook these cables. So what I've got here, which I might do a video on it a little later on, I believe this one's a 1983 thruster bi-oval. This has some chrome-plated Araya 7X rims. I'll turn it a little bit. It's really nasty. It's got some original profile hubs. I don't know if they're aluminum. I don't know if they're magnesium. They've kind of turned a dark gray color over time. One of the flanges is kind of broken. That's why I'm not going to ride it. And we've got some excuse me, a Redline 401 crank set on here with some with a Hadley bottom bracket. That is a nice upgrade on this thing. In fact, I've only seen a Hadley bottom bracket one other time, and what it was that was a very nice upgrade for your Redline cranks, because Redline was still using the American loose ball bottom bracket, well, caged bottom bracket, and this one was a sealed bearing bottom bracket. We'll show this in a minute. Let me just put this aside and then grab the other bike. So let's hook this thing up. This thing really is so clean. I've got some very nice examples of bikes, but they were actually ridden and they show signs of that. This, the only sign of the fact that it's been ridden is the rims are a little scuffed up on the sides. I need to put this bike on BMX Museum. I've got my other bikes on BMX Museum, which if y'all were curious, you can check out All Out Bikes on BMX Museum, and it's got several of my bikes, not all of them. Okay. And then maybe I can get my wife to make a nice little plaque saying what year it is and all that stuff. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to tell your friends. Check out some of the other videos on the corner of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.